All systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo, back for another edition of the Monday Night Football Showdown show here on the Ship It Nation YouTube station. Going to round out Week 9 with the Cardinals at the Cowboys. Here, as usual, with my guys, Title and Hoopster. Hoopster, bring you in first, man. How's your Week 9 going so far? As we get into it, we had a Sunday Night Football game last night, big slate yesterday, a lot of things going down there, but another big week ahead, my friend. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good week so far in terms of the games yesterday. I mean, just some wild outcomes. Obviously, the Packers losing to the Panthers and the Lions getting smoked by the Vikings. Just it kind of goes to show you that they always use that term, like any given Sunday. And man, like yesterday was really a true indicator of that. So some wild outcomes, some big boy performances as we kind of predicted. That Bengals-Bears game was absolutely insane. I watched the end of that one. I mean, that was absolutely, that was just so wild. Knew it would be high scoring, but would never imagine it would kind of finish like that. So, yeah, good so far. And then a really good showdown game tonight with a big total. And the one thing that just on just a game note, not like a DFS note, like if you are the Arizona Cardinals, right, and Kyler Murray is your starting quarterback. Like this should be the number one indicator for teams when it's time to find a new quarterback. When your starting quarterback is out and the spreads in the game move maybe a half a point or like not at all. Like if that's the case, if you are a team and your starting quarterback's ruled out and the line barely moves when the starting quarterback gets ruled out, you should immediately be going to the NFL draft and looking for a new quarterback. But like these teams are so stupid. Like so dumb. Like the Cardinals are going to continue to roll with Kyler Murray as their quarterback, and they're literally drawing 100% dead in making a run throughout any sort of NFL season. Crazy to me.
Yeah. Title, I'll get your thoughts. I mean, this is the setup. I was reading too. What's the situation tonight? Is Kyler going to be active? But just
I think so. I literally think he's got benched. I think they'll probably bring him back next week and stuff, but I think he's truly healthy enough where if Brissett played that bad and like Kyler did anything prior, I think he starts this game. I think it
was like, they were calling it like a soft benching or something like tonight. It's like they're going to pretend like he's still injured, but he's good enough to go if they had to. And so he's supposedly going to be active and ready. So I don't know. We'll see, but it's Brissett starting for sure. I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, as he should. He went down and he was a play away from beating the Colts his first start as a big underdog. And then he was a choke away like the Cardinals are used to doing against the Packers. Like they could have just beat two very solid teams on the back of Jacoby Brissett while the Cardinals could hardly move the ball at all with Kyler Murray. So I couldn't agree more. I mean, Hoop was way ahead of the curve on the Kyler Murray hate. I mean, you can't see over the offensive line, this and that. But, yeah, I'm actually excited to see it. Jacoby Brissett, good game on tap. 3.5 favorites are the Cowboys, but 53.5 total. That would have been the biggest over-under it is in this week. So if it was on the main slate, this game would have definitely got some appeal. Pretty good showdown slate as well.
Yeah, like Derek said, and what you read out there, it says it's possible he could play, like situationally or could play in the Week 9 Monday Night Football, but won't be starting the game. So at least, another variable to think about or deal with. But yeah, Brissett starting. More conversations as we get throughout. These two teams are just laced with options of quote unquote options. There's obviously the studs that we'll talk about, but man, it's pretty tricky when you get to these pass catchers for both sides. And it's like you're listing 3 tight ends deep, both sides. You got 3 wide receiver potential 4s and so-and-so got phased out. This happens all kinds of times. Oh, they got phased out, but then all of a sudden they're phased back in or whatever it looks like. It's really hard to tell. And then with the Cowboys, there's a bunch of stuff where it comes down to the blowout stuff as well. Like these games just go back and forth. And they so-and-so got to play. It's like, well, did he only play because the game got out of hand? And that's kind of what we're looking at. So what's your sort of thoughts on how this game's going to go? Our grand scheme overview, as we like to call it here, Hoop. What do you think this game plays out like?
It should be fun, definitely, for DFS and fantasy purposes. I mean, 50 4 total, like big, huge total. Cowboys have a very, very competent offense, and their defense is like worst in the league. So like if they go out there and score a bunch of points early, like you can probably count on the fact that the Cardinals are going to be able to claw back and score some real life points as well, which will obviously result in some fantasy points. So it's like a perfect game. I mean, big team totals, almost 29 for the Cowboys, 26 for the Cardinals. We have options all over the place on both sides, and it should be a fun one for DFS, like for sure. So I'm looking forward to it. Like the Cowboys on main slates are just a target every single week. Like you want to play probably some Cowboys, and you want to play the team going against them because they're just terrible defensively, and it's ideal for fantasy purposes. So I think it probably does hold true. Get a high scoring game and a lot of options fantasy wise on both sides. We obviously will go into the captain conversation, but it's probably tough to narrow it down to captain today. There's a lot of different guys that at the end of the night you could see in that optimal captain spot that I wouldn't be surprised by. So pretty wide open slate, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the conversation when we get to the captains here in a little bit as well, or MVPs when we get to them on FanDuel. The same title. Do you got anything else to add? I mean, this slate definitely sets up for, again, we saw another last night, two-way chop up top for 165K. This slate certainly sets up for opportunity for a 300,000 unique shipper. There was a lot of unique lineups up top last night, or close, really short splits, like small splits. I mean, would have been, and ended up being a two-way chop. But we've seen a ton this season on both sites, DraftKings and FanDuel. I feel like this could be another slate very easily where we end up that way.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, shout out Osimo and Nelson for that. It was 45.9, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the salary used. And that'll happen when you have a $200 guy that scores 13 points. Arroyo, like the cheapies got there, and there was absolutely no movement on the other side. I mean, the Commanders were lost. So yeah, I could see it. I think it'll be pretty spread, like 3 3s and 4 2s on both sides. I think will be the common build. There's enough value kind of on both sides of the ball, where it's not going to just be a very condensed build, which I like. Captains up top, obviously CeeDee, there's Pickens, Trey, McBride, quarterbacks, but there's enough where like we're showing the highest one right now at CeeDee at 16.72%. That's really good. We see some of these slates, it's like 20 plus for one or two of these guys. So yeah, pretty spread out captain, a lot of options on both sides. I think both sides can move the football. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, and it's also too like depending on how this ownership goes, like right now what we've seen a lot of movement on classic slates, particularly we've seen a bunch, but on the showdown slates, even in the captain, I think it was the Baltimore-Miami game last week, and Hoop, I'll come to you in a second to go through your captain options here, just how you're thinking about it, but I think it was Henry looked like he was going to be much lower when we were running the show at this point, and then as the night went on, more and more people started hopping on the Henry train, and we saw him scoot up like 4 or 5% at the captain alone. So we'll see how it shakes out on this slide. I'm interested to see once we talk it all through what we end up thinking at the end of it. But Hoop, I'll let you start off with your captain conversation. And typically that involves a lot of the quarterback talk as well, which we end up starting with when we go position by position. So let you start it up from there, and then we'll hop into the other side with title.
Yeah, so I mean, I will start, kind of talk through both these quarterbacks. I think they're both viable in the captain spot, and specifically, Brissett. I mean, people are going to like Dak, obviously, just because he can spread it around. He can have the big performances. We've seen it a ton, but Brissett is a name that people might not love up top. I mean, it is showing that he's going to get a decent bit of ownership, but man, like ideally, if you're playing Jacoby captain teams, like you want them playing from behind and he just kind of slings the football. And I think that's very possible tonight. Like I said in the opening, like Dallas can score some points, get a lead, and I can almost guarantee you the Cardinals will come back and score some points. Like their defense just can't stop anyone. So I think Brissett is very interesting up top. We're showing 12%, and that could be the case. Like the thing is, it's definitely going to get spread out up here. So easy to get overweight on whatever you want. Like Dak is definitely fine, but Brissett stands out to me. I think it is probably will end up being one of my main guys in the captain. A lot of different ways to play him. Then you have the high volume pass catchers on the Dallas side, CeeDee Lamb and Trey McBride. I think both very viable in the captain spot. Like CeeDee had the injury, hasn't really had the big explosion game. I mean, it could just easily come at any point. Cardinals defense is not great. I think he could go off. I think he's a fine option. We're showing 13%. Yeah, probably in that range for sure today. And then, after like the quarterbacks, after those two main pass catchers, probably get a little bit of a drop off, I think. Javonte Williams, George Pickens, Marvin Harrison, Jake Ferguson, Knight, I think are all in that like next tier of guys. We're showing, I guess, Javonte Williams kind of being up there closer to those main four that I talked about before. But either way, like I think he's probably fifth, like after all those guys I mentioned. Pickens probably gets squeezed a little bit more. I mean, if people are taking a pass catcher for Dallas, it's going to be CeeDee. Marvin Harrison has not had any big games this season. I mean, the connection is clearly just much better with Trey McBride for both the quarterbacks, for Kyler and Brissett. Harrison, I don't know what I'll do there, but Jake Ferguson, I'll continue to play. I know obviously not as appealing with CeeDee Lamb back in there. When CeeDee was out, I mean, our guy Ferguson was just absolutely smashing just about every single game. Did nothing last game, but I think he could totally bounce back, and I'm fine with him. And then Knight's the other guy. It's a really cheap price tag. He's almost like a cheap captain. He's $7K in the flex spot. He's 10.5 up top. Yeah, I could definitely play him. I mean, this is a slate where a lot of guys could go off, and you're just going to have to get the right combination, the right guys, the right dude up top to make it all work. And Knight could be that guy. So I'll be playing a lot of these guys, and I'm going to be focusing more on correlation and other things. I'll take some big stands, and you guys probably know where that'll be in the, not big stands because they're not going to be super popular, but in the defense and stuff like that. I'll avoid that. Maybe some of these backup running backs, but in the captain, it's going to be hard to narrow it down. I do like narrowing it down. I just don't think I'll be able to today. So I'll be playing a good chunk of those guys I just mentioned.
Yeah, the running back room is crazy. I'll let Title take the captains in a second, and then we'll get there. But it's the same thing even there. Like, it's going to be Bam Knight starting, they say. Like, he'll get first crack at it. I mean, it's not really starting, kind of is, but just to say, like, he'll get the first shot at it. But they'll be mixing it up, I think, tonight as well. So it could end up being Carter. We could see DeMercado later on. Like, you just never know how they're going to go about it. To my man Joe, he asked, if you're a Ship It Nation member, there is tutorials. So there's Saber Sim with their old, the normal, the new one, upgraded, then the classic mode. There's full tutorials on the site mixed with sheets, mostly doing them for sports. And then if you go to Saber Series, this is the premium series for members only, but this is all applicable for NFL. And they did do, Rio and Sheets did a showdown walkthrough. Rio and Nades did a late swap. You can see by week, it's all evergreen. Even though it's applied to the week, you can go back and learn what their process is and how they're going about it using Saber Sim. We've got it for MLB. We've got some for golf. We'll have a bunch more coming as we grow the Saber Sim series. But if you want to get in, code SHIP19, you can just go to the site. You get 5 days for $19 to check it out. Title, I'll kick it over to you. We'll go back and just to talk about these captains, what your thoughts are. Hoop sort of broke his stuff down. Anything you want to add to that or anything you see differently?
Not really. I have no strong take here. Like, ideally, I probably won't even be over 20% at any place. We talk about on the show. Like, if I'm with the field on every person, I'm trusting myself. I can build better lineups than the field, and that's totally fine with me. Being spread out in showdown, when I win, how much do you win? Like we've seen recently. So I don't plan on having some big take. I do like both starting running backs, Javonte and Zonovan Knight. A lot of the reason with liking both running backs too, if it is one of them up top, the game can just go completely different. Maybe it's slowed down completely and the under smashes. If Javonte gets there, maybe CeeDee hardly does anything, or Pickens or Dak. Like, a lot of chalk can bust if it is a running back day. So just for that reason alone, I mean, Javonte's the clear guy there. Jaden Blue will get some in the flex we'll talk about. Zonovan Knight, it's a little more murky there because DeMercado's back, but he had that awful fumble against whatever that week was that ruined everyone in Survivor 5 or whatever. Michael Carter has looked absolutely awful. Zonovan Knight looks like the clear base guy and the goal line guy. So if someone falls in twice, I think it's him, and we're showing like 5% at captain. So I definitely like both running backs up top. CeeDee, Pickens, Dak. Like, Dak's an easy click up top. We saw Darnold get there, but he has enough options to spread it around like we always talk about. Brissett, I still think he does, and you get a little price discount. I'm going to let you talk about him, though. Again, I kind of rely on you with the quarterback stuff, but it feels like he has enough options that he can throw 1 to 3 different guys and get there. Trey McBride, I don't know. Maybe I'll play some Marv because he's 6%. Do I love it? No, but I'll probably cap it after that. Like Ferguson's the one that I do not like that takes the biggest hit. Just seeing the props, 42.5 receiving prop, like Hoop mentioned, with CeeDee back, he can definitely get there. I feel like he definitely needs one touchdown, maybe two. But the target share and stuff just goes down a little bit, and the price is still up there. So yeah, it's both running backs. I think both quarterbacks are good. Pickens, CeeDee, Trey McBride. Again, it's hard for me to really narrow it down too much after that.
Yeah, obviously, when we talk about quarterbacks on this show, it's usually about, how can they actually spread it around? I don't think there's any secret that tonight these quarterbacks can spread it around. It's just, do you get that right? How much do you commit to it? So I think it depends on how many lineups you're playing and then what your portfolio is. I'm playing 150, so I'll definitely be spreading it out. I like these guys' thoughts tonight, where their head's at. And it's not like, I think a lot of times people think when you say like, oh, I'm going to cap at like 20 or 30% in the captains, like, oh, these guys are just going to play everyone. That's what they do. I'll have all the lines. It just makes sense. Like you're going to have leverage on all. If everyone gets a number of say 17% at the highest owned captain, let's just say that, and you've got a couple at 20 and then some at 12s and whatever down from there, you can actually have leverage on every single quarterback. And if then you're building good lineups using the tools and SaberSim and putting it all together, even if you're the best hand builder in the world, I don't care. I'm just saying, if you're building a good lineup, now you're not only leveraged with having more than the field has, you've got really good lineups. And remember, of the 20%, let's say someone gets to 18% for the DAC lineups, let's say, or CeeDee Lamb up top, that 18%, there's going to be bad lineups within those 18%. So it really takes that number down even further, and you're even further over leveraged on that stuff where you feel good or have more leverage on that spot. So just keep that in mind. I think that's important if you have a portfolio. If you only play 20 lineups, I think you should slim it down and try and make some picks, and hopefully we can have some thoughts around that and then put your process towards it. But for me, I think it's more interesting tonight with like trying to get, instead of trying to pick all these randoms, I kind of like, McBride, Ferguson, Marv, some of those guys where the obvious are going to be CeeDee and Dak and whatever. I just think if the game goes a little bit different than what's expected, this is a huge total too, by the way, but I think it's come down a little bit from, I think it was closer to 54.5 or 55. And I don't know what you're seeing right now. Title, do you have it there?
53.5, I believe it was.
Yeah, it's only slightly. It's obviously there's no defense whatsoever, but yeah, it's come down a little bit. So I don't know. We'll see how it actually goes, but I think both sides could run the ball. It's not like the matchup's just as bad. The Cowboys are bad at everything right now, so you could see it be anyway with the Cardinals. But we see that stuff flipped so often. Just look at all the games yesterday. Like you said, who's got Carolina beating Green Bay and doing it in the way they did? Who's got Indy not showing up at all? And I mean, putting up points on points on points and now nothing. So game scripts and things like that can flip so much. So for me, I think both quarterbacks are in play. I think Lamb is the obvious big boy up top there. But I think some of the guys like McBride, Harrison, Jake Ferguson, and then like from a cheaper perspective, probably Zay Jones is someone I got interested in. We'll talk more later on that. And then I guess it's the running backs on the Cardinals side, but there's like no ownership to either. I do worry, like Nades was talking in the chat, and I know you've got it there, Title, but saying the props on night. But there's also, to me, like when they don't list the props on the others, that's also not just because it's not because there shouldn't be props. It's like they don't know and they're not testing. They're not going to find out. They don't want to find out what it's going to be. They'll let you decide on night, and he's getting the first crack at it, and they'll say, you go ahead. We'll just leave the other stuff off the board. That's why the books always have the angle on you. Like they get to cover that. Yeah, we're not going to try and figure this out. We're not even going to let you figure it out for us. We're just going to run one prop out there. So I don't know, Title or Hoop. I'll go to you, Hoop. Do you have anything else you want to add? But I'm just trying to, sort of run through what I'm thinking up top early.
I mean, yeah, the one main takeaway is it's pretty wide open. And, we talked through a lot of different guys. I mean, you threw in some other names that I really wasn't even considering in Zay Jones. But the main takeaway is going to be that it has to get spread out. And a lot of those guys up top are equally appealing. The quarterbacks, CeeDee Lamb, Trey McBride, Javonte Williams are all very appealing, and there's only so much ownership to go around. It's not like all those guys can be 20% owned. I guess that's technically possible if they're all exactly 20% owned, then it would work out like that. But we know other guys are going to get mixed in. There's just no way anyone can get substantial ownership. So if you are somebody that likes making stands, it's going to be easy to make the stands tonight because it's not going to take much to get way overweight on the path that you want to go. But yeah, I mean, it just, I guess, yeah, the one takeaway is it's going to be very, very spread out. Two different ways you can go about it, depending on how many teams you build. Don't spread it out, go consolidated, condense it down a little bit, or spread it out and go the path that Title kind of talked about, where it's like I'm spreading it out and I'm banking on the fact that I can build my teams better than the field can build the team. So good either way, really, today, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Title, I'll kick it to you for just any further thoughts. If not, we can go to sort of these quarterbacks into running backs. So we hit the quarterbacks with the captain stuff mostly and spend more time on it usually, but just noting, I guess the other angle of like the Zay thing is just what I want to really clarify. It's not just Zay. It's whoever you decide. You guys out there can pick who you want to be your sort of cheaper option up top. But what I'm saying is like, we know tonight is going to be heavily built towards 5 really good guys, and who's the cheapie that I can make it fit. People will have different guys, whether it's their Turpin play or their Flournoy or their Dortch someone said Dortch is going to torch. If they got whatever they're going to put in there, that's great. But we know that a lot of lineups are going to look like that. If you put a Michael Wilson or a Zay Jones or whoever it is, if it's Michael Carter, whatever you feel good about up top, if you make that happen, you will be able to get 5 really good guys. But I don't think enough are even going close to this. Like right now, I see Zay less than 1% at captain. So while that less than 1% will fit the exact, don't just go jam the exact 5 studs that fit perfectly. Have some thought. But if you have that happening and it's able to fit something that can't, look at last night. It was a $200 guy was still needed up top with money on the table, or was still, needed in the lineup with leaving a bunch of money on the table. So again, so many people, that's the reverse of what I just explained. When you put a $200 guy, everyone maxes it out and fills it up in the flex. When you go a cheap captain, everyone maxes out the flex. Go a cheap captain and then run it down. Same in the other flip side of it. If you put a $200 guy in your flex, you don't need to max out and go to the very best captain. You just need the captain that does the best and then the lineup to make sense. That on FanDuel Title has been like the nuts all year since they changed this format. And I know it works on DraftKings too, but on FanDuel's format this year, if you look, you're like, how the hell is this lineup that? It's like perfectly correlated. It makes a ton of sense. How is this a unique? Let me look. The math. Oh yeah, they left like $4,000 on the table. It's all it is. They're finding a lineup that makes a ton of sense, is correlated. The optimizer could be fine. I'm just saying, like, that's the whole point when you see that stuff. So I don't have any further thoughts on that. Just more of the balanced builds, or the builds that leave the money on the table while still using the scrubs, if you will, or the cheaper captains.
Yeah, just have your lineup make sense. Even if you're MMEing, sometimes I have a fault at this. Like you should still kind of be going through your lineups, or like Saberson makes it easy. How many 5-1s are you building? How many 5s on each team are you building? Like you can click through that stuff, magnifying glass, and they do a good job, and you can just look at it, see the projection, the ownership, all of that. One thought I had when Nate's brought up this are pretty solid. It's almost the opposite for Javonte Williams, and I could see that 10% moonwalking back in the captain, maybe to like a 7, because Dak's only 400 more, CeeDee's 800 more, McBride's 1K less, and the props really aren't great. Like, so Bam Knight's 51.5 rushing, he's 66.5 receiving, he's 13.5, Knight's 9.5, and you're talking about 3K savings. So I think we see a bigger gap up top. Like if someone does get steam, it's probably CeeDee, just for the value we have. If he's 7-6%, I guess that even makes him more appealing for getting leverage off of stuff. So that's something that stood out thanks to Nate's comments.
Good call out.
Yeah, I do.
If you got the stone, I'll let who I was just gonna say quick. If you got the stone, that'll show you some leverage real quick when you if you change the ownership to that, and you're good to go on that spot as well. Go ahead, Hoop.
Yeah, I agree with the Javonte thing, because I was kind of talking through it and not even really looking at the ownership numbers till after I made the comment about Javonte, because I just think he is going to be closer to that second tier of guys opposed to the top tier in terms of ownership, and I'm going to kind of stand by that. I just don't think he's going to get up there. I think he has to come down. I wouldn't be surprised if Javonte up top is like 7 or 8 maybe. The ones that are going to be the highest owned, I think, are just, it's going to be CeeDee Lamb and it's going to be McBride. Like I think they're going to get up there, maybe a little bit closer to that 20, then the quarterbacks, then Javonte, then that next group of Pickens, Harrison, and Ferguson.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I'll let you stay on this, Hoop. We talked through, I think, a bunch on these quarterbacks already. Do you want to add anything there? If not, instead of all of us talking about the same thing, it's Dak, Brissett. We kind of gave that whole conversation. Yeah. You can add there if we got it. If not, go to running back.
Yeah, running back, Javonte Williams, definitely a clear play. I mean, the price is up there. I mean, 10K, but he's been good. He's been very good, and it's a big total, and he has multiple touchdown upside. He has pass catching upside. I think he's a totally fine option. I'll stick on the Dallas stuff. Jaden Blue's got like a real role, 7 carries, 8 carries, like ever since, I don't know, he was like inactive. I don't know if he was injured or what it was. I don't even think
Miles Sanders.
Yeah,
they started the year and then he got hurt.
Yep. So he's been, active since he has a role since being active. 1,400. Yeah, I like Blue.
Can I interject for 2 seconds? We just got interesting news, actually.
Yeah.
This is because it's in the chat, and then I double checked because I was waiting on this morning. Malik Davis. So Blue had that fumble or whatever, and the coach has been on his ass a little bit about this, like whatever came up from that. So I was monitoring this early this morning, and now we just got the news 10 minutes ago. So Davis was eligible to be elevated from the Cowboys practice squad one more time, but Dallas instead decided to just make him a permanent member of the 53-man roster and just signed him ahead of this game tonight. So interestingly enough, he's still slated to slot in third, is what I'm trying to say. But again, if they don't have that faith in Blue and we do end up seeing him, he's really cheap. So
200 min price.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely keep him in the player pool at 200 for sure. I mean, this is definitely shaping up to where it could be one of those slates where there's 5 guys you absolutely have, and then you just need the $200 guy, and whatever he does works. So I'll keep him in there. The Arizona stuff, I think, is definitely a little more difficult. Like I talked about Knight, he would be a fringe captain play for me. There's just 3 guys they're going to use most likely. And if Knight does not perform well early on, it could be night early for him in this game. And you got Carter right there. You got DeMercado right there. So I'm a little worried about the situation. I'm going to play Knight. He does have a big projection, so he's going to get into a lot of teams. I mean, everyone has a pretty solid number. We're showing 13.5. Sabre has right around 12, and at 7K, that's just going to show up in your teams quite a bit. So, I mean, I will have some Knight, but somewhat concerning with those other guys right there. And then their prices, you got Carter at 4,400. Let's see, we have him for 8.6. Like that's a real projection. Like if you go and run teams, that's going to show up in there. DeMercado, I think, is a little more fringy. Probably won't have much of him, but I'll have some Knight, I'll have some Carter, but I don't necessarily love either, to be honest with you.
Title, what's your thoughts? I'll kick it over to you on this one. But that again, like that's like not slate shaping news, but the idea of now $200 option, the Blue conversation has been going since last week. And then, on both sites, even on FanDuel, I think Malik Davis is like 1,600 or something as well.
Yeah, I think what it does for me is affirm that, I mean, they're really, really mad at Blue's fumble, which was terrible, and that it's just going to be more work for Javonte. So, like, I downgrade Blue from that, who was going to get ownership for cheap already. I upgrade Javonte, and pretty much the same side, like, for the other side, like, they just don't really like Michael Carter. Zonovan Knight's workload has continued to go up, and the DeMercado fumble is always going to reign in the back of these guys' minds, dropping it before the end zone. So I'm just going to hope that it's those two, Javonte and at Knight for the most part. Now, that's not saying if I picked another guy, I think it's Michael Carter, because the pass catching ability, the props are actually like plus 300. Was it to score? Yeah. Like, I mean, that's completely robbery. Plus 300 to score. Don't bet that. But I think of a backup running back, he's the most appealing to me. The thing with when we get to like Malik Davis, there is actually just a lot of value on this slate that will be on the field. Lepke's 400, not great, but he'll be on the field. Higgins 1K, Blue 1.4, Schoonmaker 1.6, Turpin 2K, Flournoy, Dortch. So, like, I think he's fine, but I mean, zero is probably the most likely outcome by a wide margin. So I like the starting running backs.
I think the Michael Carter one is most interesting because even though the projections and like everyone talked about the props already, that's the whole point I was making earlier. Why I think it's somewhat interesting is because of the setup there and the $4,400 price tag versus the 7K, talking mostly flex here, but just noting that that's the point that would stand out to me is if we don't know, or if it's even kind of close, or a first crack or whatever they're calling it doesn't work out and they take a second crack and it happens to be with Michael Carter, that could work out and be a good spot for this slate. And again, you could even take your best Bam night lineup and just drop it down to Carter and say maybe it works out differently tonight, and that's how it goes. So, I mean, I look for spots like that quite a bit. I think that's an interesting one. And then also, man, just going back to it now, like that's why I love when title comes up and who flips the ideas around on here. We all talk through it because Javonte just, it's more of like less faith in blue, which I think more people are like, well, that must mean more faith in Malik Davis. Malik Davis could just sit on special teams all night and be like, welcome to the club, bud. At least he's happy as hell. Got a full-time job now, ready to roll. Like, shit's good for him. Could he get more? Does he want to play? Absolutely. But they'll set the rules on all that stuff. I think if we're right, which I think we are, on the ownership stuff, that if Javonte comes back, man, I just don't, it's like people just assume like, oh, it's not the best matchup or whatever. Like, who cares about all that stuff? It's the Cowboys versus the Cardinals. If it's not Lamb, if it's not Ferguson, if it's not Dak and those guys, and it is Javonte, it feels like they just got a lot more faith, or they're going to put a lot more workload to him. And then that would change something we don't mess around with often. But if you changed his projection some, leaned it to more workload, it would lean more projection. If you put more projection, it would be more optimal. If it was more optimal, then the ownership might not line up. And we've got the ownership moonwalking backwards. That's like the recipe for a better play, which you have to put your whole process behind. It's not about just the pick and the play. It's just noting now, if you've got that happening or working in your favor, what does that mean for the rest of the lineup? Hopefully that helps you guys if you're out there hand building or trying to build lineups starting with Javonte, but it just makes for some interesting thought process when you're going through it all. So stay with you, Title. We'll go to the wide receivers now. That'd be the only thing I had to really add there. But wide receivers, again, just as many in either room to talk about here. And then we'll have to wait for inactives to see who they actually decide to all roll out and what they do on the rosters. We'll see.
Yeah, I like the Cowboys side definitely more than I like the Cardinals stuff. I mean, we'll talk about tight end with Trey McBride. Like, he is the wide receiver one for this Cardinals team. But, I mean, you have CeeDee Lamb, you have Pickens, you have Turpin, and you have Flournoy. Tolbert, why I like the Cowboys situation a lot more is Tolbert's snaps just went way down. Like, he's pretty much forgotten in this offense. It sounds like he might get traded pretty soon. So with no Tolbert really in the mix, Turpin and Flournoy are pretty cheap. You can build your best CeeDee team, go CeeDee down to Pickens. There's just a lot of ways to play this Cowboys team, and I think they move the football efficiently. Now, they will have ownership, and that's back to the Javonte stuff. Maybe your team should look a little different when you build Javonte captain versus Dak or CeeDee, etc. But I like all of these guys at price. CeeDee is one of the best receivers in football, should have a field day. Pickens is the man. Turpin's 2K. Flournoy is 2.8K. They continue not playing Tolbert like they did last week nearly as much, they all have plenty of roles or plenty of opportunities for their roles. Cardinals side, I think Michael Wilson's my clear favorite just because he's 3,200 as wide receiver too. You can do a lot of things. I mean, if we see a 4K on the table today, drop from your 7K Zonovan Knight to a Michael Wilson. He's on the field a ton. He can get in the box. He has upside. I got nothing bad to say about him. You mentioned Zay Jones. I think that's fine. And then, yeah, probably my least favorite at ownership in the flex is Marvin Harrison. I mean, if he gets there, I probably want him to fully get there, but it feels like he never does that. So, yeah, he's probably my least favorite.
Yeah, I like him more in the captain because of that line you just said. That's the reason. Is if he gets there, it's like, I don't know, Hoop. You were there with it yesterday, and I know it's super frustrating. It has to be if you're on Trevor Lawrence stuff and watching Brian Thomas Jr., man, it's like we got to keep playing that guy. Every time I watch it, I can't stop playing him because it's like if you watch it.
I don't know either.
I might have to dip out. I might be dipping out sometime soon.
Parker Washington's the wide receiver one there.
He is.
He definitely is. Parker Washington could. It's funny. What was the thing I was reading yesterday? Someone said that like one of his coaches wasn't letting it loose and then said it. They said that I think it was Parker Washington. They said he's like the Justin Jefferson of like a.
That was. They were saying that. Yeah.
Whoever it was, I think it was a coach who said, one of the coaches who said, I worked with Justin Jefferson in his rookie year, and this is what Parker Washington is comparable to. And now, the always open, I think, is Jamar Chase, right? The 7-Eleven thing. And really, it used to be Justin Jefferson. I mean, it still could be and should be.
He dropped a touchdown too yesterday. Bad in the first half.
Bad for that. Yeah. So I guess my point is but if you watch, Brian Thomas Jr. just feels like he's going to get 2 to 3 touchdowns all these games, and he never comes away with much. But
never.
yeah, it's brutal to watch that stuff. But that's what I think about Marvin Harrison Jr. It's like if he gets there, big boy day. If he doesn't get there, it's like, do you even need him in flex? That's how I always think about it. And sure, he can get there depending on how the slate goes. But if I want him, it's mostly up top. Go ahead, Oop.
Yeah, I mean the tough part with Marvin Harrison Jr. is like just watching the games. It's like he's always it's always a contested catch. Like, and then that could be quarterback play as well, but it just leads me to believe he's might not be getting open. And Kyler Murray throwing the ball to you is not ideal. Like, he fucking sucks. So like I get it, but like there's just never, it doesn't seem like there's ever anything easy. He's 8,400. So I kind of agree with what you guys are saying. Like, if you play him in the flex, he's going to be still between like 25 and 30% owned. So like he's getting ownership. If you play him in the captain, he's probably going to be like 4 or 5% owned too. And it's a low owned sort of play up there. So I think I agree with you guys. I might just prefer him up top, but I haven't built teams that I honestly could just fade them or just go like way underweight. I don't know. It just has not looked good for him. I prefer those other guys, Michael Wilson, Zay Jones on that side. And I really don't have much to add on the Dallas pass catchers. I think you guys nailed it. Title definitely nailed it. CeeDee Lamb, Pickens, Turpin, Flournoy, and Tolbert at 3,600. Like, I just don't think you can play him if he's not on the field. So I think all those guys are solid options, especially if you're playing Dak up top. Like, anyway, a lot of people that play Dak up top, they're going to try to obviously get CeeDee in the flex, which makes a ton of sense, and that could be the combination. But Dak up top with George Pickens, I think is a different way. I mean, it's simple. It's like you're just going from wide receiver 1 to wide receiver 2. It's a little bit of a pivot. And then the analogy used, dropping down to like a Michael Wilson, you can honestly apply that to even Marvin Harrison lineups. Like Marvin Harrison down to Michael Wilson, that's 5,200. Like that right there was like the winning score last night, right? What didn't you guys say it was like 44 or 5 or something? 5K right there. So that's literally the winning total salary last night is that difference right there, going from Harrison down to Michael Wilson. Now, very unlikely that that's the outcome tonight, but it can happen. It can definitely happen. So I think we're all pretty much aligned at the wide receiver spot here.
So one thing I'll address, two things actually. One is just quickly, the chat's talking about already, and I just pulled it to double check it. But yeah, Jerry Jones promises trade deadline fireworks, and then was just on a radio station and said it'll address their shortcomings, and did not give us we don't have the details yet.
He said they already made it. So it's already done, but it's not coming out. I feel like it's got to be
made a trade. Immediately it will address some things that have been our shortcomings. So
feels defense-y to
got to be
me.
defense. I mean, everything's a shortcoming for these guys right now, but it definitely feels like it's going to be again, though, people forget, you can make a trade with, where it gets you defense, and we have to see what that takes out of this, if it does affect anything else. So we'll have to see, but hopefully we get that. But while we're live, if not, we'll get it at some point, I'm sure. But just noting what Hoop just said for a DFS perspective is that's the answer to your question, which is a very common question we get all the time in the Discord, and people asking, or I'll get a DM or something about like, how much money is too much to leave on the table in Showdown? That's your answer. If a Michael Harrison or a Marvin Harrison Jr. lineup can turn into a Michael Wilson lineup, well, at least that $5,200 you can leave on the table, because that lineup would be fine, maxed out with Harrison, but we're saying it could be Michael Wilson instead. So I think that's key to remember. Also, this is another one, like SC brings up, the tight end captain build. That's what I was saying earlier. Like, if you have a Ferguson, he's $4,200 less than Lamb. So whatever your Lamb captain lineup is, change it to Ferguson and see if that gets you a boost somewhere else. If you feel really good about your punt plays or however your lineup's set up to make it work, by all means. But other than that, and now everyone's just guessing on the trade. So that's what it is.
What Jerry Jones considers to be significant versus like reality can be two very, very separate things. So keep that in mind.
There's that. I was going to say something similar. Watch what's going to happen. It's going to be for a name for sure. But it's going to be the worst trade for the Cowboys, as always. It's going to just be a horrible setup, but it's going to be like, but we did this and we got this person. It's like, that's terrible. But yeah, they're going to do that. That's what the Cowboys
Any guesses for you guys?
The chat said Max Crosby.
I'm going Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah. I guess he was even out yesterday too.
First round pick. Yeah. Jerry can throw those out like candy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing.
I
have zero clue though. I just know Crosby doesn't. He keeps saying he wants to stay. It's not up to him. That would be what a pickup. Max Crosby is.
If he moves, though,
he's
it's
insane.
Coming. If he gets traded, it's got to be coming this way, though. It's got to be coming to the Lions, I'd assume.
No, this would make sense too. We saw this today because Miami said they're willing to move on.
They did say that,
Patrick. That would cover what he thinks it would, but that's a prime example of what it would be. That's what the Cowboys would be like. We're getting this guy, and everyone's like, that guy, and we're giving up all of this, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
It was already bad, and now you did that. That's classic Cowboys 101 right there. But
we didn't talk about this yet. But what about Rico? I mean, is it rocket science, buddy? I mean, put the guy in the game and figure it out.
It's just so crazy, man. I didn't realize. Okay, obviously we don't follow like standings much. Doing what we do. They're 5-4.
And they're trying to pump the season playing Chuba away when they're actually winning football games. It's crazy.
Winning football game. I was shocked when I saw they were 5-4 yesterday. Yeah. And it's night and day when Rico Dodal is in there versus when he's not in there. Like, man, dude is a beast. He's an absolute beast.
Dude is a beast. And that division's open.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the Bucks are 6-2, which is solid, but 5-4 right there.
Yeah.
I mean, Bucks are beat up.
Shit, I mean, Lions are 5-3. I mean, they're
that
half
division's
a game.
All a mess. I mean, oh gosh, the
North. Just think about it yesterday. Like who everyone thought was the top teams in the NFL. Kansas City lost. Obviously, their loss wasn't bad because it was to the Bills. Yeah. Lions lost. Colts got smoked. Green Bay smoked. Like it's NFL is crazy. It is wild. Awesome. It's fun though. It's fun. It's great.
It is.
It's better than in regard. Go ahead.
Same team, but that's what I went through. You nailed it, but it was the one we've been talking about on this exact show where people relate to it. Was the Carolina situation. Carolina smokes Atlanta. We're watching Buffalo, Atlanta. We're like, man, this line seems off. Nope. Yeah. Atlanta gets the job done. We're like, oh, maybe Buffalo's just not good. Buffalo comes off a bye, plays Carolina, smokes them.
Yeah.
Now Buffalo's beating Kansas City and Carolina's beating Green Bay. So Buffalo kind of makes sense. Carolina, though, just all over the map. You can get anything out of this team at any given time. That's wild. That was nuts.
And hey, if you're still in the survivor streets, they're probably going to be pretty popular this week at home against the Saints. That would just be so Panther-like them to just come out and get absolutely smoked by the Saints this weekend.
Hopefully.
I think that's going to happen. I think it's very likely that could happen. I don't think it's very likely, but I think it's very possible. So it's going to be more than people think.
The run, make Bryce Young beat you. That's how I'm playing these Panthers every single day if I'm DCs.
Yeah. The best is it'll be people that didn't save good teams all year. And now this week they're like, all right, or the opposite. I'm saying they'll be like, this is the week they'll break free from their strategy and be like, all right, I'm just going to go to the shitty team now in a great spot. And that's when they'll lose. And they're like, damn it, I shouldn't have changed my strategy. I had this, and others will prosper. And hopefully our man Title gets it. And that'd be awesome too. So what else? What do we got here, guys? Tight ends. That's the only thing really to go to beyond, everything else we've talked about. So I don't know. I talked mostly about wide receiver. I think I'll add quickly on that Title, and then I'll kick it to you for tight end. But Zay, I mentioned. The only thing about Zay is it looks like his ownership is going to be half of Michael Wilson, and we'll see how that actually shakes out. But his prop is 4 yards less, and I don't really care that much. It's close enough for me that I think it could be a spot we see him work here. But I like Michael Wilson too. So maybe it's you play Brissett with both of those guys or something along those lines. So just bringing it up. That's why I brought him up earlier. And then on the other side, it looks like, Turpin is going to be somewhat held in check, and he's $1,200 less than Michael Wilson. He's $2,000 less than Zay Jones. I'd be fine with that. He'll be a more popular $2,000 value though. So maybe you got to think of it from that perspective, but I would think about him a little bit. And then after that, it's going to be mostly, just moving to the tight ends at the fair prices. But at the end of the day, it's those guys that sort of why I said put them in the captain, like McBride and Ferguson, because then I don't have to have all these conversations and thoughts around $1,200 and $2,000 guys. So I'll kick it to you, tight ends.
Yeah, I really don't love it. McBride, clearly. Elijah Higgins at 1K. I mean, he's on the field 40%-ish of the time, cardio for days. But if he gets in the box once, it could get there. He's plus 600. He's cheap. I'm good with it. Schoonmaker is also plus 600 at 1,600. He just has so much more competition for targets with CeeDee, Pickens, all these other guys. So, again, it's fine, but I definitely like Higgins more if choosing, even for 600 savings. And then, I just – I'm not going to play Ferg, but I think the price is too high. I don't love the props. I'm just going to be on more of the wide receivers and running backs running backs, meaning Javonte for the Cowboys stuff. So I don't really love the tight end position outside of Trey.
Okay. Hoop, I'll kick it over to you on the tight ends. Anything you want to add there?
Not much more to add. I mean, I have to stay on Ferguson a little bit more, but yeah, the price tag is a little prohibitive. Like, 8Ks is just $1,000 cheaper than Trey McBride. That is tough. There's no doubt about it, but it's going to keep his ownership in check, and I'm still going to be on him. But like Trey McBride, and then you can play Higgins, and I think that's probably it. Schoonmaker has a projection, but I don't really love it. What is he? We have him at 2.65 for Schoonmaker. I don't know. I just think you need a lot more than that on the slate. So not too excited outside of McBride, and then a gap to Ferguson.
Yeah, I think bigger thing for me is probably playing them both together a lot. So I'm not going to be able to get a discount between them, but if I play them both, maybe that's where I can get a little bit different depending on how it looks. So I'll have to see how it all shakes out. But I like that more than trying to figure out some of the I would probably go Higgins, but more than like Higgins, Schoonmaker, all these other options down there. It's just so tricky to go that route. And I think for me, the biggest draw is more, and I might not even end up that close, but the bigger draw is like Ferguson off of Pickens, for example. Like it's $800 less. I hope people think Ferguson is a pay up, so maybe they don't want to go there. If he was like 7,900, more would be on him or something like that, or 75 or something along those lines. So I'll do that. We've established where there is $5,200 to play with on this slate. If you're not going Harrison up in the captain and he fits in the flex, you can just drop down. So I'm willing to go anyway when I go down there. I think it would be probably Ferguson over Pickens more often than not. So I don't know. I guess we could circle back to that too. Title the Pickens conversation. Like, is he going to be 5% in the captain, or is he going to be 8% in the captain? Like I feel like it actually leans probably like 5.
Yeah, probably more that way. If we're right on that and Javonte, though, that CeeDee could be 21, 22. I mean, he has the clear name with enough value down below. Like, not everyone can moonwalk back. I don't know how many people want to click Brissett. Like, I think if we get steam, I think it's on the CeeDee and Trey stuff, like Hoop said earlier. Trey's price is phenomenal as the most comfortable click on the Cardinal side. And, I mean, just everyone knows CeeDee's upside.
Man,
so yeah, I could see it.
CW got me laughing right now. Said Cowboys just traded for Parsons. It says if Jerry gave up a first to the Bengals for Henderson, it's time to put him in a home. This guy, this is not going to be a good trade. And then our guy Tyler mentioned earlier, it was Jerry hyped up the Mingo trade last year. Let's not forget that. He was all pumped up about that. Where's that guy at? Like,
nowhere.
Nothing to be found. So I don't know. Anything else you want to add there, Title? If not, we can go to Hoop for kickers and Ds.
Yeah, no, kickers and Ds. I already think I know what Hoop's going to say. Not the Ds, play the kickers.
Kickers, though, got to be good tonight, right, Hoop?
Yeah, absolutely. Like both of them. Even obviously Aubrey's absolute stud, can make the 60-yarders. Ryland's been consistent, a lot of double-digit fantasy point gains. I'm just not playing the defenses. I don't care. Like, I get it. They're probably not going to be highly owned. I'm just pulling this up. We have... Let's see where they're at. The Cardinals, like, we have them at 7%. Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate. Cowboys, 14%. Yeah, or no, we have them at 9%. Saber has them at 14%. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, fade to me, I'll be close to fading them, and then if that does work out, like, I have a 20 percentage advantage on the field, so I'm fine. Just if the defenses beat me tonight, so be it.
What if you play the Cowboys D and the captain, Kyler Murray in the flex, because it only gets easier for them. The reason Kyler Murray gets in the game is because the D is so on top of Brissett, and they're all hyped up because they got this new big name coming to their team that they find out about. And then Kyler comes in and he's just as bad as he always was, and he gets crushed too.
If you want to absolutely guarantee that a lineup has the chance to solo ship, that's the starting point right there. That will guarantee you a solo ship if the lineup gets there.
You got to have the game theory brain, man. You got to go
what's the top prize tonight?
300 G's up top.
300.
Man.
There you go. Yeah. So that's one way that your lineup will be live for 300,000.
I got to look tomorrow, see how many people actually played that, because I'm not actually recommending that. I'm just making an idea here. Like, just throw that out there. The most obvious play at kicker was obviously Brandon Aubrey, who mentioned, because he looks at the box scores and goes off of that. But you've got a couple kickers you could use here tonight, Title, and then give us your thoughts on the D if you want to give anything there.
Yeah, I'm such a donkey. I go for these solo and less unique, so I'm always playing these bad defenses and I always get killed. But I can't make a case that I like either defense today. It's just they're really low owned, and it takes one play and a very high variant. Not only one play from the defense, the special teams. Like, it can be completely different than the defense. So do I love it? No, it's completely low owned. If a defense is on the winner most slates, it's probably pretty low owned up there, or low dupes up there.
I forget what it was back and forth about, but somebody was saying like the defenses are much better plays because they start with 10.
Yeah, that's not the reasoning that I'm using over here.
Oh, geez. I was like, okay.
There is a percentage of people that definitely do that, like, so that they can see themselves at the top. Like the baseball.
I think that's different. I think that's like a thing. I want to see my name next to the prize. There's definitely that group of people, but I think there's people that think that based on like just same as the other people think that you can't play a defense if they're not going to get a shutout. They're like, well, there'll be as soon as points are scored, like, well, my defense pick is dead for the week.
Just look at the freaking Titans yesterday. I mean, that shows all you need to know about defense. Like the lowest price or whatever, the biggest dot, like they got 20. I mean, come on. Crazy.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is that was like such a, if you go back and look, like I didn't really, Vidal got to 23% in the 555 milli. So it's just like an auto leverage to reverse it. And I was like, because at first I was thinking like, why were they the cheap D of everything? But then you see it and you go back and look, and that's obviously part of it. If you had Vidal getting up there, you just have a cheap D on the opposite side. If you're not playing him, it's a way to double leverage it and move up the board. So I don't know, I did a ton of review stuff this morning with the takedown breakdown a little bit more after, and just looking at it, that was a thing. And our projections had the Titans. Well, we had the Bengals and the Titans as on FanDuel, just do my FanDuel review, that they were both our min price, and they both popped. And what did I love on FanDuel? I love the Caleb stuff. So it's like, wouldn't have played the Bengals. So if I just put in these guys, it comes from the bubbles in the Juggernaut. One thing I'm learning, Hoop, about FanDuel and the Juggernaut, great tournament. I think there's a lot of bad lineups in there, and it's like really play it, just meaning like play it too safe. Like it's very safe. It's hard to ship it and get up to the top without doing something a little bit different. But man, when you bubble those juggernauts, those buy-ins can add up quickly, and you're like, well, I played good. I just missed min caching. Everything was clean, but it matters so much more if you lose like 2 or 3 entries to something like that, where you're like, don't really love riding that wave as much. Maybe I'll let Hoop have FanDuel, but it's been a good
I woke up at 888, which is way less than the Juggernaut, but I went to bed and I cashed the last spot, and I woke up and got stat corrected. I'm like, what the? I'm looking at my Saber thing, and it says you got 0 bet. I was like, what? And I looked, and I was like, yeah, that's all the games are done. Stat correction. You never Tambo. He's always on top. Don't congratulate. Don't do this. He'll wait till everything's final to send it, and rightfully so. I mean, crazy things happen.
We talked about that earlier too. Last night I was leading at half, and so the Discord cheering, rooting.
I saw one, tagged you. So long.
Well, and I love that. And I'm not against the jinxes. I don't care. I actually liked the night a week ago when I lost on that Mariota INT. At least I'm sitting there sweating it, and I'm actually sweating something. Yeah, no one can jinx me. There's no jinx. It doesn't, for me at least, doesn't exist. We're all watching the same game. Let's sweat it out together with a minute left, and we just are fading this INT. That's kind of fun. And we're up 3 points, like everything's good, or 2 points. But when it's like halftime, it's like, I'm not being rude. I'm just like, it doesn't even matter. It's like, I appreciate that you're cheering, and I do love that, but we have a whole game to go here. We got to just settle down and wait. And I ended up being, what's that?
4 minutes. C-Rod has 0 the whole game, and then you need C-Rod or whatever on the winner, because it's just like the most random stuff happens.
Well, see, you know what? C-Rod didn't end up on the winner.
Oh, he wasn't on the winner in that.
In Arroyo of all things, and I know this because I had a 0v0. I had the Darnold captain flipped with the JSN captain for a 14-way chop down the board versus the 2-way chop up top with Osimo and Cut Sweats owner Nelson Adcock. Those who don't know, I'm awesome dude, but yeah, those guys got up top for 165K. So shout out to them. But I had the captain flip, and it was still leaving a bunch of money on the table, which is why it was only like a 14-way chop, but it was also the worst because I love Darnold last night. And it's like, why didn't I just have that version of that lineup? So hate to see that. But yeah, congrats to them. And we keep getting after it tonight. 300K up top, $20 buy-in. So it should be another fun slate. Hoop, anything you see on the FanDuel side of things you want to bring up?
Kind of more aggressive with the pricing for sure. So like Dax 13K, CeeDee Lamb 12.8. I guess one kind of, well, Javonte Williams is 12.2, so he's kind of right up there with Dak and CeeDee. Brissett 11.4. Kyler Murray also 11.4. So if you have some faith in him, Pickens, I come down a little bit. Like Knight is 7,400. That he's right above the kickers, which is probably a pretty good value. It's a 7K on DK, but a 7.4 on FanDuel is even cheaper. Yeah, going through it, nothing truly stands out, to be honest. It's probably pretty similar between the two sites.
All right. Title, did you see anything else on there? I mean, just from a MVP perspective, the one that I was seeing was where's it at? It was Marvin Harrison, I think, right? He's cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. Yeah, that's what it was. That was the big one for me. He's 8,200 in the flex. At MVP on FanDuel, he's 12.3. So again, we talked about him. Not that I love this play or this spot, but if you are gonna roll him out and hope for the big game, that's the spot there. He's 2,100 cheaper than McBride over there too. Way cheaper than Brissett. All of that. Anything else you got to add there?
Yeah, FanDuel. Again, I don't really play it over there for Showdown, but just looking at pricing and stuff, like I think it's even more condensed at MVP. Like Dak and CeeDee could be approaching 50%, just them two, because it's the half-point PPR. But like, there's enough kind of value on the slate, or like people are just fine punting with one of a Flournoy at 2K or Lepke, and it gets you whatever you want. Zonovan Knight, like Hoop mentioned, is underpriced for sure. He's 7.4K, Carter 7K, Aubrey 7. And Ryland 6.8. Like the kickers being 400 and 600 by a starting running back, that'll make him a lot more popular over there. But I think if you play Pickens, McBride, Marv, Javonte, like any of them really up top, I think you're getting a little bit of a discount in ownership and on a different build.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be Jacoby Brissett starting, not Kyler Murray. But no, it's a lot of money up top, 53.5 total. We should see the ball moving on both sides. I'm excited for this one.
Hoop, anything you want to add, man? Final thoughts or anything we want to talk about before we get out of here?
Yeah, fun game. Looking forward to it. Big total. I think a wide range of outcomes in terms of the potential winning lineup tonight. So it should be a fun one. And yeah, let's finish out the week strong here.
Yeah, if you want to check out one thing we forgot to mention too, I want to bring this up because it's going to be bigger this week, the Splash Contest for Ship It Nation, but also we got a ton of things upcoming, at least that you'll want to be part of this anyway. You can go check out Splash Sports. This is a $50 deposit match, so you can get that right away. You get 100% payout boost on your first Quick Picks entry, which we're doing a ton of stuff with NBA, NFL that you can relate towards that. And it's new users, but there's going to be a lot of stuff for even current users that have it already. But I would go check it out at Splash Sports. That's going to do it for this one, guys. For Title, for Hoop, and for myself, ToeTagginTambo. Let's ship it.